Path of Night is an actual play Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the world of darkness. We're all friends, we're here to have fun, but our story can include graphic violence, drug use, sexual content, and other mature themes. Content warnings can be found in the show notes. We talk at our table about safety, comfort, and consent, both as players and storytellers. We know what to expect, we're all excited to be here, and we want you to feel the same. So listener discretion is advised. Now, let's walk the path of night.
Last time on Path of Night. A jealous Kabir roped Johnny and Neil into destroying Weather's car. Weather's frenzied, causing widespread panic. Wynn and Britta worked together and managed to calm Weathers down. Wynn and Kabir walked away from the rave together. Renwick cornered Neil, demanding answers for Fester's disappearance. Renwick staked Neil, taking the Malkavian with him as he left. Britta, you find yourself alone among the mortal masses. This, party, this rave, has raged on for the better part of the night. And things are showing signs of winding down. Weathers is nowhere to be seen. Some of the better-known Brujah of the area have one at a time made their way out in different directions for the evening. You find yourself listening to the music, but distracted by thoughts of the night. What do you do?
Coming from emergency to emergency, Britta is fully aware that even just being a little hungry could be a problem later. And as she looks around, she counts faces that she recognizes of the Sabbat, faces that she recognizes of anyone who could be a threat. And as she kind of does the math, she decides to focus her anxiety from everything that happened outside into a very simple objective: to feed. So, enjoying the music, letting the beat become the marker for her steps, trying to let herself fall into this party in this moment of solitude and just exists. She watches the ways that the mortals move, checking carefully for who's already sluggish, for who seems inebriated. She remembers that the coterie had told her about that before, and finds some familiar rhythm in the act of finding someone to brush her fingertips along their shoulders, get their attention, make eyes at them, pull them off into an enclave.
Well into the night. It doesn't take long before you find someone who is inebriated and in their own way looking for something much the same. He's young, maybe a little older than you, dressed in current fads with baggy jeans and boots. He wears this neck chain that hangs a little too low, football jersey for his top. He's dressed for this kind of party.
She is hoping for someone sober.
It is unlikely you will find someone who is both mortal and sober.
Understandable. In that case, she'd still rather have the blood. And in her expression, she hides any of the hesitation she feels to kind of touch him, to turn that motion of running fingertips over him into testing the fabric of his jersey as if wanting to know how soft it is, but really trying to just pull him closer. All of the little machinations that cause her to be bringing him over somewhere quiet, somewhere out of view, so that she could kiss him and give him the kiss.
He runs his fingers through his blonde bowl cut, kind of trying to come across as smooth as possible. But you can tell by the way his breath hitches and the way his heart races that he's nervous. At the first indication that you want him to come with you, he obeys.
Britta finds herself automatically taking on a role of comfort towards him, trying to make him feel desirable, trying to make him feel good about what she's about to do. She reaches out to trace her thumbs along the sides of his face, to kiss him on his lips before kissing down to his neck. But, like always, she needs to sink her fangs in.
He's responsive. You can kind of feel the shiver that goes through him. And once you instill the kiss, he offers this very subservient groan. How much are you taking from him?
Britta is taking 2 pints of blood.
At 2, he's a little dazed, and his eyes close, and he falls asleep.
Britta glances around quickly, looking for, a quiet place to seat him safely. Maybe a backroom bench, somebody's snack to put next to him so that he can have some sugar when he wakes up.
You have a private space that the coterie has access to and has been using. Once into the VIP area, there's a bench, some bowls of what have you in terms of quick snacks and drinks. And you lie him there. It becomes quickly apparent to you, though, that in this dark room that overlooks the throng below, you are not alone.
In those final motions of making sure her prey is safe and comfortable, Britta finds herself looking up and trying to meet eyes with the presence.
He is very much how you remember him looking up on the rooftop. Roman is clad in the same clothes. He wears the same gorget. He has the same anger in his eyes. But at least for the moment, he is seated, still and relaxed. And in his body language, there is no indication of the same rage that he had in the presence of his sire.
Upon confirmation, Britta is somewhat self-conscious. She moves slowly away from the man that she set down and her task. And there's a moment of hesitation. She looks down to the exit of the VIP, but her feet don't carry her there. And she finds herself drawn to look back up. An evaluation of Pendragon, of how he's sitting, especially of that trace of pure rage. She takes a moment to ensure that her lipstick hasn't moved out of the lines, straightens her clothing, and, unsure of her steps, unsteady, but on purpose, she does choose to walk over to Roman Pendragon, and, testing, she slowly sits down next to him.
When you approach him, you are watched by him. He doesn't speak, he doesn't frown, he doesn't indicate that he doesn't want you near him, but he isn't entirely welcoming either. He just watches with those pale blue eyes that he has, sitting in a dark room with probably the poorest illumination in the entire club, watching you draw near, or up until that moment, he was preoccupied with people watching.
What does his chair face? What section of the club?
His seat, he's seated in this love seat that overlooks the dance floor.
When Britta sits, there's that moment of self-arrangement, of sitting very properly in her assigned portion of a love sate, making sure that she doesn't accidentally touch him, or she's keeping her hands in her lap. And she looks down at her gloves, feeling the texture of them in a moment of comfort. Definitely emotion that she uses to center herself, running fingertips over the edge of the glove, feeling the texture for herself. And she crosses her legs, she wrings her hands, but she looks out to the club, sharing his perspective for a moment before looking back to him. She tries to speak, and whatever sentence she might have said, she abandons in favor of, well, what she actually says, which ends up being, "Hey, are you okay?"
He regards her, indicating that he heard her. Am I okay? Why are you asking me this?
Britta looks down and then to the side, immediately, more self-conscious even than she was at the start. But the words stick in her throat, and she doesn't quite muster up the kind of decision to bail again. So she tries to orient what she was meaning to say, and pressing her hands more into her thighs, flat, just to stop fidgeting and say what she means to say. She expresses, "You had to see your sire again, and for what little you've mentioned, that would be really... I didn't know if you would even believe me. When I sent the message, I didn't know if you would respond, but I didn't want you to be the last to know that she was back. That didn't feel fair. You deserved more than that, and seeing her must be hard."
Is that why you were here? To speak to me of my sire and her apparent resurrection?
No,
Then why are you here? What is it that you want? You'll have to forgive me, but you've been rather unclear on the subject.
I think I have cause to be. I think that you yourself were the one to tell me that I was in danger around you.
And that is all?
Britta finds herself swallowing, even though there's nothing in the mortal way of nervousness that would provoke that physical reaction. And she puts pressure into her thighs, trying to push the stress down through her legs, through her toes, into the floor. And she summons up the question. "What you asked for on the rooftop, why? Why would you choose that out of everything?"
Choose what? Diablerie? The amaranth?
Yes.
It is a simple arithmetic. When the prince calls the blood hunt, they want the entire city to participate regardless of how dangerous the subject of their blood hunt is. And what do they offer?
It's clear in Britta's expression, the way that she regards him as a teacher in this moment, that way that she kind of tilts her head and finds herself a little more facing inwards towards him, that she does not know the answer to that question.
The one who successfully brings down the subject of a blood hunt is typically rewarded with the heart's blood. They do exactly what they would be doing in New York. You see, the fear the worry for what I indicated should be done, it isn't because it is some alien madness. It is an unsightly truth about the nature of the Camarilla. The Camarilla does not exist to protect others. The kindred of the Camarilla frequently only stand to lose when they do so. It thrives because it is a place for the ambitious to seek and claim what they want. I didn't offer something new. I simply introduced a new way of offering it.
Britta takes a pause for herself, running that through in her mind, trying to make it align with everything that she's learned. By the look on her face, it matches what she's learned of the Camarilla. Her brow furrows, and her eyes are softer, more confused, like there's even more variance being added into this already complicated question. She tries to find direction in asking him, but what would it... I mean, diablerie changes people. How do people handle that in those circumstances where it's like a reward for a blood hunt or something that has already been used? What would it mean on that scale?
In the end, it would mean nothing. The Camarilla would return to the exact same state it was in before. Consider this. Have you ever indicated to your coterie that they might wish to align themselves with me?
That makes Britta look back down again, her hands in her lap, and away from him. She hangs her head a bit as she admits, yes.
When you suggested it, were you aware of my evils?
It feels like more and more the more I'm here. There's always some level of evil that I'm supposed to accept, that I've already been a part of. I woke up and the first memory I have is of killing someone, and that's when the Camarilla pulled me in. And surviving has been more about no one apart from my coterie cared that I had killed someone, more that I existed, and whether or not I could make a space for myself. And I keep finding it difficult to figure out. It's like, in order to keep surviving, in order to keep being able to do anything good, in order to make any kind of difference, there's always some amount of evil that needs to be done. So...
Yes. Yes, there is.
Britta looks more ashamed, but a little more relaxed in her posture.
It is the price of success, the cost of victory.
Earlier you had called me a soldier, and I had flinched, and I think it's because I see what you mean. And it doesn't feel like you have to be scared of it in the way that I feel scared of it. The watching people around you and knowing yourself, knowing your beast, knowing what you're capable of doing, and exactly what kind of soldier you could be. Something about the taste of the word soldier in Britta's mouth draws her attention back to the gorget on Pendragon, this armored neck piece. By the way Britta's looking at it, she's trying to place it in an academic sense, trying to find recognition, but something tickling at her mind. She finishes out the first thought, saying, Yeah, it's like I know I have to fight, and I don't know how, and I do at the same time. And I guess I'm jealous of your surety. What is? And with saying what is, she finds herself raising her hand, and instead of touching specifically the gorget, she finds her hand stray just to the side of it, and unsure if he will even allow her to do so, she lightly rests her touch on his chest.
His chest feels firm to the touch, and his eyes shift toward Britta as he looks at her more directly. Is it that you don't know what you want? Or are you afraid to say it?
I think I'm scared of wanting what I want. I think I've spent a lot of time learning to protect myself and trying to protect others around me, and I think what I want out of a lot of things that I'm facing is I think it scares me more. When we were at the hotel, I know I said on the phone, and with the word phone, Britta immediately winces and just tries to power through to the rest of the sentence as if that word did not pop up. That I didn't want to go, and I know that probably means nothing, but most situations that I've been in like that, for everything that you've done, for any interaction that we've had between us, I haven't gotten to feel safe like that you wouldn't cross that line, that getting in the, that I'd have a choice. And, I guess it's probably kind of backwards. That made me feel safe with you in that way. And I didn't want to lash out after that feeling. My sire came and got me. When I was talking to the door in the beginning of the night, I think you couldn't see it, but my sire was there, and I've always had some programming issues. Things locked into my mind that I didn't put there or want, that I can't explain. I guess brainwashing from being a soldier. And they said an activation word, and as she's saying this, she, almost like she's hiding her hand from herself, the palm that has the moon on it, she pulls closer to herself, laying atop of her own chest, trying to, almost like she's trying to keep the heart a secret from herself as she's speaking about it. But she does continue on to say, and when they said that word, I lost control of myself, and I couldn't act. It was just I was just what they had made me to be. And when I finally got more hold over myself, when it wasn't just the commands running through me, I learned more about my sire, about where I come from, and we ended up going to fight a shard of the eldest, and I haven't felt like myself after that. that experience took a part of me, and I guess that's why I came over here, wondering if you were okay, because I wasn't okay when I met my sire. Learning more about what he had done to me and what he had put me through, and him putting me through more. The damage that it did to me, and Britta says the word "and," but does not continue. She kind of freezes up.
In his expression, there is the ghost of empathy. You can see somewhere in him, he understands the discomfort, the humiliation, the suffering associated with being this pawn that is denied the power to choose their own destiny. In his own way, he understands.
Finding that trace of empathy in him, Britta slowly unfreezes, untensing a little bit, turning a little bit more inwards towards him.
But it hardens. I get the sense that you aren't often asked what you want. I would like to think that it was this inexperience that caused you to be unresponsive every time I've offered you my attention. But you must see that in some way, I cannot allow that to be the pattern that exists between us. I will not give you that power over me.
Britta looks up at him and says, I am scared. I was. You have so much power over me. And I've been trying to navigate that fear and the things that you do. You taking my armor, keeping me at a sword's tip. You telling me that you're danger. Miles had been asking me about you, and what my feelings were, and I can't get my mind off of you. And I've tried, and it hasn't really worked, and I think as much as I'm scared, I do see good in you. I wasn't lying on the rooftop. I think you are brave.
When she opens up just a bit, he reaches out and he takes the hand that is covering her heart. And it is, to put it lightly, a firm grasp. He doesn't hurt her, but the motion is steady and too strong to resist. And with his other hand, he starts to pull off the glove.
Britta tenses up and is clearly afraid, but she chooses to turn that inwards, trying to make him a center of trust, kind of sheltering in against the couch towards him, not quite covering her face, not trying to pull her hand back, just trying to use him as a rock for the stress of that.
Now, do you want me here, or should I take my leave?
As he says this, does he have the glove, or is he partway through?
He has plucked the glove off of her slowly and tossed it onto the floor. He just discards it as if it were nothing.
Britta struggles with it, battling with herself, battling with different instincts. The instinct to curl up and hide, the instinct to cover back up. But she feels the closeness between them. The positioning of both of their hands, the touch, the sense of darkness in this place, the strange sense of solitude that comes with knowing that you're surrounded, but that no one is paying attention to you, that you're separate, but present. And she decides to put her trust in him, uncurling just a little bit, letting her hand relax in his hold. There's still that fear in her voice, but she says, "I want you here," looking back up to him.
Then submit to that want. And he starts to pull Britta up onto his lap. And he is fast. He is aggressive. And once she's looming over him, he lures her down into a kiss.
As Pendragon pulls Britta into a straddle, Britta lets herself relax into him, thighs draping over him, body pulled close. And she lets herself be pressed into him, taking only the pause to discard her other glove, dropping it to the floor along with her left. And she puts her hands on his shoulders to lean in and tests out what kissing him is really like.
This elder of the Bruja threads his fingers into Britta's hair, tugging at her as she's pulled into these deep kisses.
Britta returns the pressure, kissing hard and grinding into him, putting herself further into his lap and letting him have control over her, kissing him back and kissing him in a way that doesn't compare to how she was feeding earlier. She's kissed a lot of people, she's experienced in this, but not when she means it, not when she actually wants to know what somebody's lips taste like, what it feels like to put pressure on the bottom lip, what it feels like to get their tongue in your mouth, to really explore.
She feels the sensation of fangs, which is a wildly new concept for someone who has largely kissed mortals. And as things heat up and continue to escalate, the door to the VIP room opens.
Britta can't help but to automatically pull back, and as a surprise to her as she does so, retrieving one of her hands covering her mouth, she realizes the automatic instinct to cover her own fangs showing.
Miles, with his back mostly to them and making sure that Eden is also facing the other direction. Yes, it is time for us to do the thing that I think we need to do to get this, basically shut this party down, get it finished up. We need to, I have a thought. We should, anyways, when you're done there, why don't you come downstairs and find me and Eden here.
In the tiniest voice, Britta just kind of squeaks back, "Okay."
Great. I'll see you soon.
Yep.
Nice to see you again, Prince Pendragon.
Oh my god.
Evening, Your Grace.
Britta kind of just puts her face in Pendragon's shoulder, not willing to look at Miles right now.
Miles basically closes the door and moves away.
From the other side of the door, you hear Eden go, "Who's he?"
No.
As the voices fade out, as Miles and Eden get away from the door, Britta kind of collects herself and sits back on Pendragon's lap, creating some space between the two of them. And she lowers the hand covering her fangs and looks up at him, offers him a shy smile, fangs and all.
He looks flustered. A rare expression from him. He is frustrated, embarrassed, perhaps wants to leave, perhaps wants to stay. But when she smiles at him, the tension is eased a bit. And he gives this crooked, slight smile back. It is as though he is enjoying himself.
When do you have to leave?
Whenever I want.
I have to go, but Britta cycles through some options and kind of with a peek over her shoulder, ensuring that Miles and Eden are completely out of range. She might have heightened her senses for that one.
At least in this moment, you are alone.
Britta shifts to the side, making it easier for her to stand up off of the love seat. And as she does, she reaches to the ground to collect her gloves, slipping each on, one and then the other. And as she rights them, making sure they're on correctly, she looks back over to Pendragon and hooks a finger somewhere above the slits of her dress. And in one swift, subtle motion, she slides something down from hip to heel, navigating a bit of cloth around the boot that she wears. She clucks it up in her palm, walks back over to Pendragon, one knee on the love seat to have better access to reach into his pocket, and with that, slips her underwear into his pocket. She looks back up at him, still flushed, pink from the blush of health and from what they are doing, fangs still hidden in her smile. And she says, "I'm hoping you won't make me wrong about you." She lets her touch linger on the pocket just for one additional moment before turning and going to join Miles and Eden, wherever they may be.
You slip out of the VIP area, head down the stairs, round the corner, and get a look at the crowd that is a bit of a strange concoction of emotions and energy. Amidst them, you spot Miles. With him is Eden, kind of keeping close, but very clearly curious about what's going on with you, because she keeps glancing in your direction and spots you right away. A little wave.
When Eden spots Britta, Britta is trying to fix her hair back into place and kind of trying to get herself back in order. And there's an embarrassed raise of the hand back to Eden, but Britta is being avoidant and walking more to Miles than to her with the questions on her face. Getting
the semi-signal from Eden, I turn around and see Britta approaching and move to intercept.
Hey,
Good. As you can see, the rave is weird right now, and we need to get this domain acting together, finding something to give them a reason to fight, because otherwise they will just hide when things go down.
You mean trying to maybe bring the mood up or something?
Yeah, bring the mood up, but also give them something to fight for, something to believe in, to give hope in a situation where we just watched a crazy lady get very insanely violent.
Yeah, the rooftop is... What were you thinking?
Well, I do have some music prepared along with lyrics. I was hoping that you would perform them.
Do you have notes, or...?
Of course.
What, you don't mean now? Do you?
Soon.
Like, tonight soon?
Oh, yeah, tonight soon.
Oh, okay,
Look, not that I don't think you're skilled or whatnot, but I will also be helping you. Got a trick in the bag that'll help things go along.
Miles, do you think that would even work? Because, I mean, I've been working during the rave to try to get people to like us and like me so that they'll like us and build that kind of rapport and everything. And
right.
I just don't know if it would be enough if I were to be that central.
I feel like you can, and part of it is the nature of Bruja, but also I just think that you'll be able to do what is necessary to inspire them with a little help from, some music.
So, when you say music, I know you have a lot of connections in this field.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be playing piano, or do you have a backtrack, or am I just kind of going for this?
I have the music written with the lyrics. I probably can dig up some backtrack, but we'll see how it goes.
All right, can you hand me the music and I can see if I can even do this?
He reaches into his coat and grabs, crinkled up, folded pieces of paper of sheet music that he has written on, put some notations and put some notes in and around the area, the music itself.
Britta starts examining it, starts humming out melodies as she figures them out, trying to get the pacing right in her mind, trying to understand and take into account the lyrics. And for a few minutes, that's really what she's putting her heart into. She looks up at you and she says, "Do you really think that this would work? You said you would be able to help me?"
Personally, I don't even know if you'll need the help. But yes, I will be helping you.
It's just, I have a lot of hope for this being something that we can all figure out together. And that we can maybe make this into something better, and that we can take everything that happened tonight and make it into something good. And I think I can share that.
I think you can channel that, correct? Yes.
It's just kind of scary.
Of course. Don't worry. We can help with that part. Now, Eden, cut us the way through to the booth.
And she starts kind of, excuse me, and like the sound of the music, and they kind of like.
I'm following up right behind her, helping her.
They start to move.
As soon as she moves up to the stage, I'm going to look at Britta and go, "I'll talk to the DJ. You get ready. You've got this."
Now?
Yes, now. Well, as soon as the song is done. You can't interrupt a song. I'm going to hit her with Kingmaker.
You feel imbued with strange power that you have not felt before. You feel confident. You feel so confident that you don't feel like you have to apologize for anything, no matter how bad you are, no matter how much you misbehave, no matter how much you doublespeak. If someone disagrees, they are wrong. The argument doesn't matter. You feel like Miles.
What an end note. That will be 6 successes, which will add 6 dice to whatever social rolls you make, and it will reduce your difficulties by 3. I just have to stay in general proximity to you.
You enact your effect, and as it starts to take hold, there's a couple physical changes, even just in the way that Britta carries herself, the way that she stands. She usually has good posture, but here her shoulders go backwards. Even her weight shifting in a more confident manner, more like a model walking on runway. Something makes her feel like she has the center of the attention of the room, and she deserves it. And tucking the notes into the same band that holds her gun, she moves up to take the microphone and face out to the crowd. I'm looking for my lifeline. I'm running off of fumes. I don't know what's next, but I wanna be with you. I'm following the lure of finally feeling alright. And I know the clock ticks, but I'm quicker when time is running out. I know I can't fix everything wrong, everything going on. I know they've got tricks, but we've got our own, and I want you to know it's always right, but it's not too late. Keep your heart alive. It's always right, but it's not too late. Tonight, they want us to lose, oh, They want us to lose our cause. They want us to lose our hearts, but we will keep our hearts alive. Find a new beat, oh, something to believe. Yeah, it's always a late, late night, but I want you here beside me. Want you in the fight. I know you feel it too. We have to make it through. I don't know what's next, but I know I'll be with you. With the pressure rising, I know I have to try. I won't be a quick fix. It's all twisted up, but I won't give up. Watch me read my lips. I'll hold my head high, oh, I will survive. I'll keep my heart when we collide. It's always late, but it's not too late. Keep your heart alive. It's always late, but it's not too late. Tonight, they want us to lose, oh, they want us to lose our cause. They want us to lose our hearts, but we will keep our hearts alive. Find a new beat, oh, something to believe. Yeah, it's always a late, late night, but I want you here beside me. Want you in the fight. Be my heartbeat tonight.
Roll now.
Okay.
I would like a charisma plus performance roll. The standard difficulty for this is 6, but it is modified by the bonus that Miles is giving and any merits you have. The minimum difficulty for this roll is going to be 3.
So, with the difficulty reduction from the Kingmaker effect, it is reduced to 3 from 6.
That's correct.
I'll add in 6 dice from Kingmaker as well. Is Enchanting Voice relevant?
I mean, certainly relevant to the IC aspect of this, but you have so many bonuses and whatnot going right now that your difficulty can't get any lower. I will award you an extra 2 dice for the roll based on the merit, and we'll call it at that.
And the singing spec applies, I would think.
It does.
13 successes.
You succeed. The crowd cheers, claps. There's whistling going on all over the place, and like a bit of cloth like slaps against you and drops to your feet. And when you look down, I don't know how you feel about it, but there's a powder blue thong laying at your feet.
Is the Kingmaker effect changing my confidence still a factor?
Yes. There are bras, hats, soft things are being thrown your way.
Britta had been standing in total focus and total confidence, feeling the sort of fulfillment that one can only really achieve when they actualize an art that matters to them. And she really is trying to drive that sense of hope, that sense of naivete, that sense of feeling into every word, embodying positive emotion in a song. And coming to the end of it feels like a form of release. And as she feels something soft hit her, I mean, she doesn't even really move at first, until she looks down as everything fades out. It starts realizing what some of these objects are, and blushes a little, trying to... There's an automatic instinct to cover her smile that she might do normally, something that is born out of her usual shyness, but with the revelation of the instilled sense of confidence, she realizes she can drop her hand and just smile out to the audience, mouth the word "thank you," put the mic back, send a little wink off, unsure in whose direction.
Near the front of the club, Johnny, who had been existing in a state of limbo at the front door, constantly going out for a cigarette to talk to people, and then as he tries to come back into the club, being roped into another cigarette to go back out to the front, is actually standing inside with all of the other Brujah that were in that similar state of cigarette limbo. Mm-hmm. And all of the smokers have come inside to cheer and yell and shout accolades and praise.
She makes sure to grab the microphone back up and make the thank you. Thank you. Thank you, New Haven. Thank you, Brujah. A bit louder before she puts it back and exits the stage. She gives the DJ to go ahead to wrap things up, I think. She looks over to Miles at that.
I think things will start winding down from here.
Amaya takes the mic before the DJ can get a hold of it and turns, presenting it to Johnny.
Johnny grabs the mic, gets up on stage next to where Britta is. All right, y'all. I think it's been a pretty successful rave tonight. No permanent damage. He kind of chuckles and looks out over the crowd. Let's let Haven shut down. I'm sure there's probably some people here that want to go home. The rest of y'all, let's go outside and we'll smoke some cigarettes till the sun comes up, yeah?
Woo, Johnny! And people start cheering and get into having a pretty good time. As things start to disperse,
he kind of does like a circular wrap 'em up motion with his hand and starts heading for the front door.
The front door opens and there is a small crowd of people pressing into the club, and at the head of them is this man who's wearing this like long trench coat, kind of like haggard but cool looking, long hair, thick, weird, bestial facial hair, pointed ears, and this kind of like gnarly expression with these glinting bright golden eyes.
Is it immediately obvious who this is?
You can definitely tell right away that him and the people he is with all have various beast features. You haven't really seen a crowd of gangrel like this in a very, very long time.
And the haggard one in the front with the trench coat, would it be reasonable to assume that Johnny might know that that's Xavier?
Yes.
Johnny kind of changes his posture from relaxed and like this thing went off mostly without a hitch, and like he's, doing his victory lap at this point. Kind of puts his battle face back on, strides up to the former gangrel Justicar. Oh, sorry, friends. This is a Brujah rave and it just ended. And I don't think any of y'all have Brujah dates.
I've got one, he says, and kind of motions back towards the crowd. And the crowd parts. And there is a man wearing a New York Yankees baseball cap, these red sunglasses that he wears at night, a leather jacket, and kind of sauntering is this very built, strong, handsome black man. And he just kind of gives this subtle up nod. And Amaya, the Anarch, looks at you and is like, it's the Killer Bee.
Never mind. You brought the right invitation. DJ, put something low-key on, please.
Amaya looks at you, she's like, tell him I'm cool. And she like slips off.
Fuck her, tell him I'm cool.
This former Justicar approaches. As they're kind of filing in, there's a woman who is with them, who is not dressed like the gangrel. She is wearing very, very tight leather pants, boots that come up to the knees. She's got her own leather trench coat thing going on, hair tied back, lots and lots and lots of eyeshadow. And having not seen her for a very long time, you recognize Lucita.
Archon Bell, welcome to New Haven. What can I do for you and your friends?
He extends his hand for a shake.
Johnny gives him a shake, trying to hold together all of his cool to not seem like a total fanboy.
When you got a minute, let's talk Siege.
I'm all ears.
The former Justicar, Xavier, takes a look around. There's supposed to be a gangrel here, the one that called me.
You must mean Wynn.
Where is she?
Dealing with a Ravnos, I think.
When she's done putting him down, we gotta talk.
That's one way to look at it.
He raises an eyebrow.
Path of Night is a Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the world of darkness. Britta Ashcroft the Toreador was played by Rebecca Steigelfest. Johnny Saxon the Brujah was played by Garrett Gabbey. Miles Davenport the Venture was played by Tim Davis. Neil Foster, the Malkavian, was played by Rob Muirhead. Wynn Cabot, the gangrel, was played by Erika Webb. Your storyteller was Lex Lopez. Recording by Rebecca Steigelfest. This episode edited by Rob Muirhead. The music used in this episode was composed for Path of Night by Brian Matolius. Find him online at brianmatolius.com. Path of Night uses the 20th anniversary edition of Vampire the Masquerade with a few limited house rules. Vampire the Masquerade and the World of Darkness are owned by Paradox Interactive. Make sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. We can be found on YouTube at youtube.com/@pathofnight. You can help support the show on coffee.com/pathofnight. Find us on twitter.com/pathofnightpod, on facebook.com/pathofnightpodcasts, or email us at pathofnightpodcasts@gmail.com. See you next time, kindred.
Roll performance.
Gladly.
No Kingmaker for you.
Miles giveth, Miles taketh away.
What am I doing? Charisma performance?
I don't
Yeah.
have the authority to make you
Bro,
roll
hiding
things anymore.
hiding your emotions, that's fucking subterfuge manipulation, my man.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So you put
Wait a
those
second,
back.
is Johnny bad at hiding his feelings?
If you don't have any subterfuge, what's the penalty?
Nothing.
Difficulty?
6.
2 successes.
All right.
By the barest of margins.